Everything about Fire Force screams, this should be good. And yet I find myself losing interest with each episode. There are very few anime out there that I've wanted to like as much as I want to with Fire Force. I either like a show or I don't, and I can figure it out pretty quickly. When you've got the likes of Soul Eater on your resume as a writer, it's hard to imagine throwing up a brick with Fire Force. And to be fair, by most people's standards, Atsushi Okubo has another classic on his hands with this title. But for me, however, Fire Force feels more like a tragically missed opportunity. It started off with so much promise. The characters were in place. The mystery of the Infernals was intriguing enough. The animation is some of the best around right now. So, with everything there, what happened? Well, in a word, execution. As great as some of the animation sequences are, they can't cover up a story that doesn't really know what it wants to be, which is a huge shame for such a good looking anime with such a solid premise. And I think the first crack in the foundation is the characters. They seemed well established, but there was no real expounding on them in any real meaningful way. Arthur is trash, Shinra is okay, I guess. The rest are inconsequential, but what I think they drop the ball with the most are the girls. Maki and Tamaki are flat out wastes, and I honestly don't know which is the bigger waste. We saw Maki manhandle Shinra and Arthur during their little sparring session, but she's been either absent or completely ineffective when the fighting actually matters. People were slapping her with the waifu label early on, but she's turned out to be relatively useless. It's sad, really. And Tamaki, man, they really spoiled a chance to grow her character. I know she's there for fan service, but she could have been so much more. The whole time she's been this scrappy loudmouth who thinks she's a badass, but during episode 9 when she realizes Rekka has betrayed her trust, and after he's beaten the shit out of her, we see her in a moment where her facade could no longer protect her. And that gave us what I think is Fire Force's most powerful scene thus far. Shinra asks Tamaki if she's okay, and tears stream down her face, and in her moment of brokenness, she has to admit that she's very much not okay. It was a brilliantly animated scene as Tamaki gives us the most tangible moment in the series without uttering a single word. And then they bail. Moments later, Shinra's hand is back on her tits. This was a potential turning point, a defining moment for the show, and they bailed. Which brings me to my next biggest issue. This show flirts with fan service in the most forced way possible, and it distracts from the weight of those huge moments. Now, don't get me wrong, if you've seen my channel, then you know I love fan service shit as much as the next guy. Anime titties are part of what makes the medium great, but only when it makes sense. When we watch ecchi anime, we know what we're getting ourselves into. It's why we're here. But when you try to sprinkle it in like this lucky lecture lure bullshit, or however you say it, into an action shonen, and in a way that makes no sense and is so out of place, it just comes off as cheap. Now, should Toonami have censored those ass grab moments? No. But they shouldn't have been in the show to begin with. And without those characters to attach yourself to, who cares about the story? I was intrigued about the Infernals and who was behind their creation at one point, but not anymore. I don't even care about Shinra or his family, and I couldn't care less what happens with Neo Tokyo, or whatever it's called. This could very well be the most disappointing anime of 2019 for me personally. But I want to know what you guys think. Have you been able to stay excited for Fire Force, or did you end up dropping it? Either way, let me know why in the comments below. Be sure to check out my Patreon to see how you can be involved in my videos in the future. I'll be back again very soon, but until then, sayonara suckers.